Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be reviewing a 2024 Chevy Blazer RS. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Chevy here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with this Blazer. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a 3.6-liter V6. It goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 18 around town and then 26 on the highway with power outputs being 308 horsepower and then 270 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood itself, you guys can see I've got some distinctive lines there on either side. I think that looks pretty cool. But my favorite part are the lights here. You do have a split light design, which I normally don't like, but I think it looks really sharp here with the Blazer. And then look at this trim is darker. You got the blacked out Chevy bow tie with the RS badge as well. And when you put it all together, it does look like a Camaro SUV, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's pretty sweet. Coming on the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 265, 45, 21 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see here with the wheels, you got the silver there with the blacked out elements. I think that all looks really good. And then notice how the fender flares are body painted. You can see the rest of the trim also body painted along the bottom. Blacked out Blazer logo as well. And putting it all together, this RS package looks super sweet. But let me know your thoughts. Now the next thing is the key fob. You can see you've got the lock and unlock function, remote start, the opening for the hatch, and then the Chevy bow tie there on the back. And popping into the rear, you guys can see Chevrolet here on the covering in the back, and the Blazer is very spacious in the back. That's one of the big benefits of this crossover. And if we kind of lift this up, you can see you got some spare tire action underneath as well. And then when you're all done, you just have a button right here you can press, and that will lower the hatch. Now taking a look at the tail lights, you guys can see pretty intricate with the design there in the center, and then look at all of our badges here on the back. Also, dual exhaust tips here at the bottom look pretty cool. But anyways, there's the rest of the Blazer. Now popping inside, you guys can see soft touch here on the door panel, very tight feel, which I really appreciate. Got your window control there, and then notice heated seat control. And speaking of seats, perforated, we've got some red there inside, also some red piping, looks really sharp. Legroom here in the back's really good. Got a little storage pocket, some vents here in the rear, some USB action as well, and then you can see a little outlet there on top of that. Got to mention, headroom back here is good, and don't worry, we also have a cup holder armrest. Now taking a look at the front door panel, we've got padding all over, and again, more of that red stitching that goes across. All of our window controls, front one is automatic. You got our mirror adjustments, memory seat function, and then blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And taking a look at those seats, you can see perforated all down the center portion. Got all of our power adjustments on the side, and then look at like the red stitching and the piping and everything. That looks great. Parking brake right here, and then you got your light controls. Steering wheel is power adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, we've got soft touch all around. Radio controls on the back of the steering wheel. You got practical controls here on the front. We also have stuff like cruise control and our heated steering wheel button on the steering wheel. And then you got your stocks there on the back. And taking a look at the gauge cluster, you guys can see analog gauges on either side. And then we got this little like screen here in the center, which we can use to scroll through different bits of info here on the Blazer itself. Pretty cool setup. And then we do have some different drive modes. So we basically have an all-wheel drive mode, which doesn't do much, but it will pop up there in the center. And then there's also a sport mode, and then there's an off-road mode, and then there is also, last but not least, a tow haul mode as well. Now in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. We also have the bird's eye view, and you can see out of so many different angles here with this camera system, which is great. Definitely one of the best in the car industry. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with it's great. Comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And I like the fact we have some physical buttons here at the bottom. Also, auto stop start just randomly into the mix. But then also on the other side, stability control. They've kind of like thrown some random buttons up here. Also, glove box? That's interesting. Anyways, down below, you've got our controls here for the dual zone climate system. Also have heated and ventilated seats. And I love how you turn the vents to change the temperature, just like in the Camaro. That's why this is the Camaro SUV. Got some USB action, wireless phone charging pad. And then we have our shifter for that 9-speed automatic transmission. Got some cup holder action here, and look at the trim all around. And then you've got your drive mode select. That'll pop up. And for the parking sensors, and then your lane departure. And then center console is pretty big. Got some USB action inside there, by the way. Some red stitching on the top, and then some more storage up front. And then up top, we've got our controls here for the full panoramic sunroof and then darker colored headliner. So here's our window sticker for this 2024 Blazer RS. Base MSRP is $45,700. We do have some options added to this particular one. Total MSRP $52,365. And let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, both the mirrors, and throughout the rest of the rear. And Blazer away. So we'll start off in the two-wheel drive mode, and then, you know, with our acceleration, we'll pop it into the all-wheel drive mode. So first off, seat comfort's pretty dang good. I do like the fact that these seats are air conditioned. I feel like it's so hard to convince automakers to put AC seats in their cars nowadays. I just reviewed 4 cars today. This is the 4th, and this is the only one that has AC seats. And this is not the most expensive car that I reviewed today. 2 of the other vehicles I reviewed today stickered for $63,000 and $73,000 respectively. So value play by Chevy. Anyways, ride quality is really good. Yeah, it's comfortable. It's a very comfortable vehicle. So yeah, I'd say it does a good job with the daily driver stuff so far. And I will say, the one thing I do like about Chevys I've noticed with these compared to like Ford and stuff is everything feels a little bit tighter in the interior. So it seems like the build quality with the Chevys is a little bit better compared to some of the other automakers. Now we are in the sport mode here, so we'll get our acceleration in sport. Transmission's pretty snappy, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's strong. That is strong. So, not the longest test drive on the planet, but I've also driven the Blazer quite a few times. So to cap things off, I think this drives really well. And on top of driving well, it's just a great all-around vehicle. My only complaint with the Blazer is I do think that Chevy should offer a high-performance Blazer. Like, this V6 is great, but General Motors has some really cool engines, and I'm not saying they should shove a V8 in this, which it would be cool. I mean, the 5.3 V8 in this, tell me that'd be cool. It would be cool. But, you know, something to be a little bit more reasonable is, why don't they put like the twin turbo version of this engine in the Blazer, right? That has like 472 horsepower, and I can't remember the torque on it. It's like almost 400 pound-feet of torque. That would be so much fun. Think about that. Mid-sized SUV like this with almost 500 horsepower. Sounds like SRT Grand Cherokee territory, right? And let's say that they charge, I mean, they could even go crazy. Let's say they charge $65,000, $70,000 for it. It's a lot of money, but I think people would definitely buy it. The looks that this has, and then that performance, I think it'd be tons of fun. And let me know your thoughts on the Blazer, and let me know if you think that if Chevy should release a high-performance Blazer that's not an EV, because obviously we got the EV Blazer coming soon, but I think that there's a lot of people that don't want to go the EV route but still would like more performance. Let me know your thoughts.